friends, and welcome to episode 18 of a Disney Life podcast. Thank you for joining us today to chat about some Disney things in our Disney life. I am Missy, and I am joined here by my co host, Rachel. Hello, Rachel.
Hello, good morning.
So, we are a Rachel focused podcast today because in today's episode, we'll be doing a pre trip report for a family trip that Rachel has coming up in a couple months. She recently had her 60-day for dining. I have not followed up with her since then to find out how that went and what all she was able to book. So, we'll be experiencing that together today to chat with her about her trip. In today's top five, we'll be talking about our top five attractions that you can experience for guests with no height requirement. So Rachel's family is multi-generational and she has some little kids, so height requirements are important for her. So that kind of goes along with her pre-trip report today. We have a listener question about bringing food and beverages into the park today, and then Rachel will wrap things up at the end of today's episode with a tip of the week. So we appreciate you being here to chat with us about all things Disney, and we'll get right into it.
So, as Missy mentioned, I am heading to the parks in a few months with a multi generational family. We will actually be heading to Universal Orlando Resort and to Walt Disney World. Um,
Oh, wait a minute. Are we talking about all of that today, or are we only talking about the Disney side?
so I will just mention just kind of our short plans for Universal. I'm more than happy to go into more detail in another episode, or when I get back, we can definitely do a trip report that is Universal focused. But we will be going for both. So this
Okay.
trip will be my husband and my three children. And then my parents are going to join us when we get to Walt Disney World. It's just going to be my husband and my three children at Universal Orlando Resort, which is going to be
And
an adventure in itself.
and can you remind us, Rachel, how old are your kiddos at this
Yeah,
point?
so at this point, my kiddos are 9, 6, and 2.
Oh my word. Quite a trip that will be. I remember, so I only have two kids. I never quite experienced it with three, although we did have several trips that we would have plenty of friends and family and other kids along, but I that's quite an undertaking. So
Yeah, and it will be quite an undertaking at Universal, especially because there's not as many attractions that we can do as a family there, but we're still gonna make the most of it and have a great time. So I'm taking
also, especially because I feel like once you get your husband to Epic Universe, he may then be your fourth child
That's
officially
true, yes.
for that day.
Missy knows my husband loves Nintendo, and so we have a competing um, worldview in our house between Nintendo and Disney. So we are constantly competing over who is winning. And with Epic Universe having a Super Nintendo World, it's that one's going to be a clear winner for him.
We'll give him this one. He
Yeah,
can
yeah,
have
he
it.
can have this one part. But we're going to be driving down, so I'm taking a cue from Missy, and we're loading up the minivan, and we are driving down. Live close to 9 hours away from the park, so it makes more sense as a family of five sometimes to just get in the car because flying can be very expensive when you are dealing with three children along for the ride too. So we're going to be doing that, and
I would imagine it also helps as far as your luggage and packing goes because you can bring along those extra things that you may not be able to fit in your luggage to fly. While at first the thought of a 9-hour drive with three young children sounds horrendous to me, I do agree that probably makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure when all is said and done, you'll make a lot of memories too. And it'll be something that the kids will remember even when they're quite a bit older.
My kids are actually kind of used to making long road trips. My husband's family lives 10 hours away. So we will take a big road trip there at least once a year, plus our annual trip to Orlando. If I can't find really inexpensive flights, then we are definitely driving. So we're used to it. We know what to do. But yeah, as you said, Missy, it's nice being able to pack what I want to pack. I can take everything that I need from the get go. I like to travel with my own pack and play. And so then it's nice to just to have everything together. When we fly, I don't take my own pack and play because it just doesn't make any sense to do so. But yeah, definitely I enjoy being able to take what I want to take, being able to bring back what I want to bring back too. So I don't have to worry about shipping home
Oh my word, I would be in danger.
yeah,
Especially with my kids, they would be bringing home all the merch.
yeah, supplies for you.
We used to when our kids were around the age that yours are now, we used to limit ourselves to one big shopping day at the end of the trip. It was usually at the Emporium, and we at the Emporium at Magic Kingdom, and we'd make one big purchase and then have it all shipped home, because the one thing that I have a lot of anxiety about with travel is packing to come home. I don't know why. I hate it. I'm mindful of what I purchase when I'm there. I typically come home with less because I take some things that I know I'm not going to need to bring back home with me. Like we travel with our own toilet paper because we're particular about it, that type of thing. Yeah, having my own vehicle there to load up, that's a fun thought
Yeah, for
with
real.
little
Yeah.
ones and all the plush you'll be bringing home. There's like no stuffed animal that you can't
Yeah,
fit
to
to take
take
home,
parts.
Rachel.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, Epic
Yeah,
Universe or
so,
Universal. Tell us about that.
but we're gonna go on this trip for a few reasons. One, this is gonna be our big annual trip for the year. Two, we do want to explore Epic Universe. We're very excited about Epic Universe opening and all that's offered there. And then three, we're gonna be celebrating my youngest's birthday. So she will be turning 3 on our trip.
Also, you are getting this and squeaking it right in there before she needs a park ticket. That is
I
very
sure
smart planning.
am. Yeah, and so as Missy mentioned, if your child at both Universal Orlando and at Walt Disney World are whatever age they are at check-in, so get those trips in before you start having to pay for them. Um,
Free till they're
Free.
three.
It doesn't matter if you check in the day before they are free; they are free. There are a few exceptions to that, but for the purpose of my trip, she is free until 3.
I actually accredit free till you're three as a big part of the reason that my family ended up being the level of Disney fans that we are. Because when I first took my daughter, I restrained until she was what I felt a reasonable age to visit Disney World for the first time, which was 17 or 18 months old. She was right. It was January. She has an August birthday. So about a year and a half old. And when we were there, I can still remember walking through the Polynesian on the last night and having the discussion with my husband of, when do we want to start trying to have another one? We hoped it would be in our cards. It was something, even though I had a lot of difficulty with my first pregnancy, we knew we wanted to try for another. And we said, we better come once more next year at this time because she'll still be free. And, free till they're three. And once the new baby's here, then it'll be a few years before we make it back again. Little did we know that it would end up being at least an annual trip, if not more at that point.
Right.
But thank goodness for that, because that kind of encouraged us to get there once more, and it made it more affordable for us as a young family to be able to get there again.
Yeah, I agree with that. I often get the question, what's the right age? And people want to look at 5 and 6 years old. And I understand that because a 5 and 6 year old has a lot more endurance than a 1 or 2 year old. But at the same time, if you aren't paying for the child, if you aren't paying for a ticket, you're not out any funds as far as I'm concerned when you look at your trip and how you spend your time of your trip. And I think all my children got progressively younger on their first visit, so, I am not a good influence when it comes to that. Lincoln was, he went when he was about 8 months old.
I believe I was there for
Yes, that
that.
was the first time that I met Missy in person was on his first trip, and, then my middle child, she was probably 6 months old, and then my youngest was 3 months old on her
So
first
basically, I
trip.
took an adult when I took an 18-month-old,
Yeah.
as far as you're
As far
concerned.
as I'm concerned, she took an adult. But yeah, so we're gonna be having a long weekend at Universal to begin our stay. We're gonna stay at Universal's Cabana Bay Beach Resort, which I've never stayed
Okay,
before.
perfect.
Yeah.
I really think Cabana Bay is my favorite Universal hotel. I've stayed at many of them, and I realize there are nicer ones, but I think overall for the value, for the location of it, the family suites that they have available, and the cost, plus the close proximity if you happen to be going to Volcano Bay, which we usually try to do because we are swimmers and in my household. I really think it's just excellent hotel option there. So well done,
Yeah,
Rachel, in choosing that as your resort.
well, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. I think the kids are gonna think it's so neat. The bowling alley inside, just the retro feel. I don't know. I would love to say swimming will be in the cards, but I don't know how the weather's going to be. But we are going to get a family suite, which, as he said, they do have family suites there. So it'll have two queen beds and a pull out sofa. Has a little mini kitchenette area with a mini fridge and a microwave and a sink. So that'll be perfect for our family. One thing that will be definitely perfect is that the bathroom is split up into three different sections. So this is great to know if you are planning on staying there. So you have a room that's just for the toilet, and then you have a middle section that has a sink and a mirror. And then you have a separate room on the other side that has the shower tub combo. But there's also a sink and a mirror in that part of the bathroom too. So you can have multiple people getting ready or using the restroom at the same time. So that's very.
And the kitchenette actually has a lot of counter space
Mhm.
there also. You always have your one spot where everything lands when you walk into a hotel room like that. Everybody tosses their things there. It was nice to have that space that was kind of out of the way and then still plenty of space for the kitcheny things that you may need.
Yeah, they've got some shelves above the sink area. So I've already looked at some photos and everything. I just kind of wanted to make sure what the layout would look like. But yes, it's the
Mhm.
kitchen area. Kind of remind me as far as just the face front of it, a lot of what you find at Art of Animation suites. So, but I'm excited. I'll definitely report back of what we're going to think of the family suites there, and I think my kids will think it's a really neat place to stay.
Mhm.
But we plan on spending 2 days at Epic Universe. So, we're gonna try to get as much done as possible. I definitely
That's a lot of
it
time for
is
one park,
it
so
is a lot.
that's good. You'll be able to cover it all. That's
Yes.
great.
Yeah, and then we're gonna spend 1 day park hopping between Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. We've been to those 2 parks enough to know what our priorities are of getting done.
Right.
My oldest, he's a bit of a roller coaster junkie.
Oh my.
Loves them, so which I love. It took him a while. He loves them now, but he was not tall enough to ride the Hulk when we were there last time. He's definitely tall enough now. So
I am not tall enough to ride the whole
yeah,
I
right.
am 5'7". I don't think I'll ever.
He's been begging to ride Velocicoaster. We did not, I believe he was tall enough in our last trip, unless that and the Hulk.
Wow, I had no idea he was such an adventurous young guy. How
Yes.
about it?
Yeah, so I will say, we're gonna try to do something special for each of our children during our trip. So Universal is kind of his thing. As far
Right.
as being able to ride bigger roller coasters, we're gonna really focus a lot of time on his. Um, for me,
So what about you, Rachel? Are you going to be the one riding Hulk and Velocicoaster with him, or is that on Jordan?
so we will be child swapping because Jordan and I both love roller
You
coasters.
both want to ride?
Yeah, so
Okay.
we'll be child swapping, so Lincoln gets to go twice. Now my middle daughter, she's tall enough for some of these rides, she'd be tall enough for Hagrid's,
Okay.
Gringotts. Whether or not I can get her on those is another question, so, um,
And you said for this part of the trip, grandparents are not along
yes,
with
very
you,
different
correct?
along, so we
Okay.
will definitely be taking advantage of the rider swap system, and,
Okay.
um
Well, you could report on
yeah.
that after you
And
experience that and let
let you
us know how
know
it
what my
goes, please.
favorite waiting room was too, so
Have I been in your favorite waiting room? It has the bathroom. Is that
I have not been in
there's
that one yet,
the one for I don't know. It's at Epic Universe. I'm so bad.
and I have not been in that one. Is it the, Curse of the Werewolf? Was that the nice one?
Probably.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
it's in that area of the park, so it's whatever that ride is there. It's like an inside one that makes you go all over like you're hanging from a chair and swirling all over the place. So I got that far and thought,
Okay.
"Nope,
Uh,
I'm just gonna wait here." And then I discovered how their rider swap rooms, I had never experienced them before at Universal.
yeah,
I thought it was fantastic. So I would love to hear how it compares to other ones since that's the only one I experienced. But I love that there was even a restroom there. It was a nice, cool, air conditioned place to hang out and wait for everybody who was
yeah,
riding.
that is not I'm okay, so that would be the Monsters Unchained one you must have been talking about, so, 'cause
Okay.
I remember during that report you talking about that, but,
Yeah. Okay.
so I have been in several of the rider swap rooms at, studios and Islands of Adventure. I don't necessarily have a favorite, but I have been in them before, but, not having grandparents there, will definitely be utilizing them a lot more because, you know, I wanna ride them too, so
Yeah.
what a
Okay.
certain time.
Perfect.
But all of our meals, we plan on being quick service. We, wanna utilize as much time in the parks as possible. My children are really looking forward to the Isle of Berk at Epic Universe. We spent a summer
Mhm.
going through all the How to Train Your Dragon movies. They love those. They've watched the series that Illuminations, I believe it was it Illuminations? No, it's not Illuminations that does that. Sorry. Whatever
I don't know, but that sounds a little sus. I don't think
what
anything's called
the
that.
studio that was responsible for How to Train Your Dragon movies, this they put out as DreamWorks. That's what it is. We've watched the DreamWorks series, so they're really excited.
That makes sense. I am
I
offended,
know,
but we're
I
just gonna move on.
Okay. So after our weekend there, we're going to be driving over to Walt Disney World on our last park day. So we're going to have a day at Epic Universe, full day there, then head over, and we'll be checking into Disney's Fort Orleans Resort French Quarter.
Okay, so we're finally getting into the Disney part of this
Yes.
Disney trip.
So
All right, which one did you say? Port Orleans, which one?
French Quarter.
Okay,
Yeah.
super cute. I love French Quarter. I've only stayed there one time, but it is so quaint and comfortable, and I wouldn't I wouldn't immediately go to that type of a vibe for a resort for a typical vacation for me because I always tend to lean towards beachy type things, but I enjoyed it so much. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it's been at least 15 years since I've stayed there. And
Okay.
I say that because I've been married for 15 years and I know my husband has never stayed there with me. He's not on every
Okay.
trip with us, but I know that he has not stayed there. He has stayed at Riverside with me before, and I've stayed at Riverside since my oldest was born. I do remember that, but it's been a while. We used to stay there just we had a phase where we stayed there every trip to at French Quarter, so that was probably
Okay.
my late high school, early college days. But yeah, Missy said people love that resort. It kind of has its own little cult following. Like there are
Hmm.
sites dedicated to the love of French Quarter. I think one of the reasons is it has a smaller footprint. It's the only moderate resort where you have one bus stop. So,
Right. And that makes a huge difference. I could remember when my kids were around, I would say 6 and 3, maybe, and we stayed at Riverside, and I remember one night just wanting to get to the Magic Kingdom, and we waited and waited and waited for a bus on the internal bus system running around there. That was an exception. I know it's not normally like that, but you don't have to worry about that possibility when you're at French Quarter with just the one bus stop. I often say it's a compact resort. I don't wanna give the impression that it's crunched in, though. It's just so much more compact than Riverside is, because Riverside is so sprawling. But at French Quarter, you still have those beautiful garden areas and long the paths between the buildings, and I love where they do you know where they do their movies under the stars? That is such a beautiful lawn area there. I'm sure you'll see it on your trip where they do the inflatable screen and the movies every night, but it's just kind of like one building over from where the pool is, and it's a huge lawn area where the kids can run around and play, and it's just so pretty.
yeah, it's a very pretty resort, and, I'm sure Mickey beignets will be in our future because you can order
Mhm.
those there, and, it is the only resort well, this and its sister resort, they're the only resorts on Walt Disney World's property where you can pool hop. So,
Yes.
you can
Yes.
use the pool staying at French Quarter. I'm allowed to go to the pool at Riverside and use that one and vice versa, but, they both have
Although I
pool.
think you're at the superior option,
Do you think
honestly.
so?
I think with the splash area that they have there now, your kids are great ages for being able to play in the splash area, and, I mean, who doesn't wanna go on that serpent slide? It's
Yes, yeah, which I haven't on, and I think so it was named, Scales, fun fact, which is my maiden
okay, I did not know
yeah,
that.
and that's my maiden name, so,
What?
yes.
Get out of here.
So
I didn't know that either.
so that's a little bit of a, tender
I didn't know you before you were
yeah,
married, so basically you never had another
tender
name
maiden
as far as
I
I'm
had.
concerned.
But, we do have 2 garden view rooms that are booked there, so, one for my family and one for my parents. They'll be arriving on earlier on that day, and they plan on going to Disney Springs that evening and having dinner either at Homecoming or there's a new, Bourbon restaurant that is located over there, so these rooms do sleep a maximum of 4 guests. However, since my youngest is not 3 yet, I can place her in the room with us, so we can have a
Mhm.
room for all 5, or We will
Under 3 in the pack and play, which we
yes,
now know
yes,
you're taking your own with you. You
yes,
don't even need
yes, and
to borrow one
yeah.
from the resort.
Now, I can request one at both Universal and at Walt Disney World. However, they are not guaranteed. So, this is a way to have a guaranteed separate sleeping space for my youngest. But we are going to request connecting rooms when we arrive with my parents. So they will have an extra bed in case one of my children decides to go and sleep over there. That's fine.
Sleepover.
Um, but yeah, so we're gonna be arriving there probably pretty late our first night. Maybe hopefully not late enough to grab dinner at the quick service location, but that's our plan to in order to get our the most time that we can out of Epic Universe that day. So uh,
So we know from our previous chats that you spent a lot of time at Disney as a child. So I'm assuming your parents have no difficulties getting themselves around. They know the lay of the land. I know a lot of people when they're traveling with parents kind of need to maybe babysit their parents a little bit
yeah,
to help get them from place to place, but I don't believe that's the situation you'll find yourself in. So
no,
I would bet they'll be able to get themselves on that ferry boat down to Disney Springs for dinner that first night just
absolutely.
fine without you.
Yeah, my mom takes her own girls trip, every year. They go on a cruise, and they like to go out of Port Canaveral and drive down a couple of days and spend, the night at Walt Disney World and everything, and they always joke that she is the tour guide, that they need to give her one of
That's
those
fun.
with poles with the flags on it so she can just guide them around, but yes, she definitely has endless amounts of energy as soon as she hits Walt Disney World's properties.
I love it. It keeps her young. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Um, so we're gonna get up the next morning and head over to Hollywood Studios that morning. It will be a Monday morning, and we're gonna spend probably about half of our day there. That's our plan so far. Grab quick service somewhere. Hollywood Studios probably my least favorite part for dining, just to be completely honest.
I don't dispute that.
Yeah.
There's not a ton that I need there. Yeah.
And I think a big part, I know Missy talks about chicken tenders at Walt Disney World. There's nothing wrong with them. They're good, but it's one of those places it's like, that's really the only thing that I wanna eat when I go there. And I like having and I like being able to have other options. I think that's the
Right.
thing. There's definitely a time and a place and a mood that I'm in for chicken tenders or a good Disney burger, but, when it's one of those things, it's like, well, that's the only thing that I wanna eat. That's why Hollywood Studios is not my favorite. Um, but we're gonna go over that afternoon, so we'll either walk or boat for Skyliner over to Epcot. So
So have the kids been I'm assuming your kids have been on the Skyliner
yes, they
because it's been around
love
for a
the
few years now.
Skyliner. This would definitely be a request from them that as soon as they see the Skyliner, they are going to want to ride it. They love it. They love being up in the air. We love pointing out all the different things that we can find and that we can see. So we'll be in the Skyliner, and we're only taking. So even though I have 3 young children, we have always traveled. I need to say this: we've always traveled with a double stroller. This time
Okay.
we're only taking a single stroller. We will take a single jogging stroller, so that way, if my 6-year-old gets tired, I can swap the 2 kids out. Um,
Okay.
but this will be my first time on the Skyliner being able just to push a stroller on. That's
Roll it on. And that just makes the boarding experience much more relaxing, really, when you
so
don't have to worry about that.
relaxing. I can't guarantee that my toddler will be in the stroller at that time because she just wants to get out with everybody else, but, not having to fold it up and side shuffle onto the Skyliner while it is in motion, is a huge help. So, and I will say shout out if you're a cast member and you listen to this and you come across and you are a Skyliner cast member and there's not a line and you see a parents with young children in a double stroller and you let them go through the handicap line, huge shout out to you. That is so helpful, and I wish they would allow that more often. So, um,
Well, congratulations to you on
yeah,
graduating to a
yeah,
single stroller. I wish you the best with it.
that's one parent milestone down, and a huge reason for that. Our last trip, when my kids were a year younger, my middle child did not want to get in the stroller as much as she used to. So I think she wanted to be able to walk around with Big Brother. So
She is a big girl.
yes, she is. So we're heading over to Epcot probably about 2 o'clock that afternoon. We want to get quite a bit done at Hollywood Studios that morning. Hollywood Studios has the least that we will do as a family together. My girls don't want to sit through the shows as much. My son definitely doesn't want to. He wants to be on rides as much as possible. If Disney Junior is back up and running, we'd probably go and do that because my youngest will love that. But other than that,
Mhm.
we'll take in the big rides and then head over to Epcot. We have Eat to Beat dining packages reserved for that day.
Woohoo! So
Yes.
this is still doing food and during food and wine. So you're right towards the end of the food and wine
Yes,
festival with
we're
this
towards the end
trip,
of the
right?
Food and Wine Festival. So, my husband and I, we always try to have when the grandparents are along, we always try to have a date night during our trips. We both love sushi, so he asked him, "So, what are we gonna do for sushi?" So, we decided to schedule our Eat to the Beat dining package for Shikisai that evening at 4 really the afternoon at 4 PM. My parents are gonna go with the kids, and they have one scheduled at Beer Garden.
Okay. Well, that's a fun thing for the kids.
Yeah, I think they'll enjoy the music and everything, and I'll have to report back on the food. I've got one picky eater, and I have heard that there have been chicken tenders on the buffet lately, and if that's the case, he will be very happy. So if not, he'll be eating his weight in pretzel breasts.
I can confirm that. So I ate at Beer Garden lunch in July, at the end of July, and I am 99% sure there were chicken tenders. I will have to look back at my photos and I can let you know for
Okay,
sure. But
that would be
I think you're
kind of
safe
food.
there because they had a whole little kid buffet that I hadn't noticed my previous time
Yeah,
there.
and I which I think is much needed there. I enjoy beer garden, but you have to enjoy that kind of food for a while, I believe.
Yes.
So, but we are going that evening. We are going to the 6:45 showing of The Beach Boys,
Ooh,
and hoping that Uncle Jesse is there since he is.
you'll have fun, fun, fun.
I will, yeah, way down in Kokomo. But
That's right.
but we did schedule each of the beat dining packages for all of us in order to be able to get guaranteed seating. Now, I don't know that my husband is going to go. He said maybe, but I said, "Hey, if you don't want to,
Poor.
I
Don't be
know,
so
right?" I
lame.
said, "If you
What is
don't
his
want to,
problem?
you've got 45 minutes free to go through Mitsukoshi at whatever snail's pace you wanna go through it." So, um, for those of you we've never talked about it before, but my husband, especially, we were both big fans of Japanese culture. That was actually our big trip last year, so, we are big fans and, eat a lot of Japanese food, but so that's our day there, and, I don't know that we're gonna be staying for the fireworks. I think maybe we might hit up Frozen during fireworks time.
Uh-huh.
I
Good
did I
plan.
did that during in July, and, it worked very well. We waited for about 15 minutes to be able to get on Frozen, as opposed to fighting for space to watch the fireworks, so, uh,
All right.
yeah, but that'll be our first day at Walt Disney World, and then the second day is gonna be an exciting day because this will be Meredith's 3rd birthday.
Aw, 3 years old,
Yes.
sweet Meredith.
So, very excited. We are going to be spending this day at the Magic Kingdom. Now, this is a party day, so we do not have party tickets, so we will have to be out by 6 PM, but I think that's okay because it'll be a very full and fun day with lower crowds there because of that. But that morning, Missy, I actually booked a capture your moment session for us. So
Oh, well, that's so perfect. You're gonna make me cry just thinking about it. Now, you've done capture the moment before, right?
yes, I have. I actually did that, when I was pregnant with Meredith. So we did that kind of as a last photo shoot, as a
Why don't you explain what capture the moment is? Because I think it's something that isn't as commonly known as a lot of other options there.
Yeah, that's so this is a 30-minute photo session with a PhotoPass photographer. You have a designated photographer during that time. You can book a session at either one of the 4 parks and they will give you times to choose from. This opens at your 60-day window. So this opens when your dining opens at, however, it opens at midnight as opposed to 6 a.m. in the morning. But you will go and check in about 15 minutes before. They will actually call you the day before to find out, are you celebrating anything? Where would you like to go? What
Oh,
World Showcase? We actually wanted to go in the Japan Pavilion, but they said because our session was so early in the morning before World Showcase officially opened, we could only go to France, Mexico, or the UK, Canada area. So we chose
huh.
France. Um, and I think the reason why you have those countries, you have the outliers on either side, but you also have International Gateway for that splits France and the UK. So I believe those were why our options were that I mentioned Japan. They said we could not do that.
Okay.
So many photos. I want to say we probably had at least 75 photos to choose from. And when I say
And are you paying one cost and then you get all of the digital?
Yes, so you pay one
File.
this was $99 for the session, and you get all of the photos. However, there's a little caveat to that. These are not your photos unless you wanna pay individual for the downloads, but if you have Memory Maker on your package, you can download all of them.
Okay.
So it's a little plug for Memory Maker too. I thought that it was well worth it when we did this session before. We have some wonderful photos from this, and you can book when you book these sessions. It is up to 8 individuals. If you have more than 8 people in your party, you need to book 2 sessions, and then you can all be together. So, however many
Okay.
people you have up until that point. But I had no problem getting one. I actually got it for park opening time. So we'll get there early, and I figured that would be probably the best time to be able to get around the castle without having as many people in front of the castle at that point in time period.
So is the castle the only option there for location, or are there other options, do you think, for in Magic Kingdom?
So when I booked it, it just was for Magic Kingdom. However, I do know that they have fairly recently allowed Fantasyland photos
Okay.
over where the Cinderella's fountain is located. That they use that
Uh-huh.
area too. I've seen people over where the Snow White's wishing well is located by the castle as well. So
Okay.
I'm curious to see, where they have it. I just thought we're spending it. It's Magic Kingdom. It's her birthday. This is going to just be special for all of us. So, to have that, and my parents will be along too. All of us together will still be under that 8. So I definitely want to get a few pictures of the grandparents of the grandkids too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. I love all of that.
Yes.
That's fun.
So that day we don't have any dining plans during the day, but when we get kicked out of the park at 6 p.m., we are going to head over to the Contemporary Resort and eat at Chef Mickey's for dinner for Meredith's birthday.
Quintessential option for a third birthday dinner. That's
Yes.
perfect.
So this is a fun fact. So Meredith actually shares a birthday with Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse.
What a Disney
I
girl.
know, right?
Did you intend that?
I
Was
had
that
no,
like
I
a
did not.
very
I,
strategically scheduled thing?
I did not intend that, but I was so
That's
happy
next
when I found
level.
out, and I was in the hospital when I found out. So she had already been born, and then I saw that it was actually Mickey and Minnie's birthday. So every year, which just makes me think I'm gonna have to pack these. I always take a picture of her with her Mickey plush and her Minnie plush. So I'm gonna have to pack
Mhm.
those so we can get some photos with those too. So, but we plan on staying at the Magic Kingdom as late as possible. We wanna see the lights come on, we wanna see Main Street lit up and all of its Christmas decor, and then head over to Chef Mickey's for dinner, and, that's our day 2 plan so far.
Okay. That's a good day. That's
Yes,
a
it is a
very
good
good
it'll be
day.
a fun day, so, um, the next day, we're gonna be getting up and heading over to Animal Kingdom for the day. Now, my husband and my children, they're huge, huge, huge Animal Kingdom fans, and I am too. I enjoy it. I do not believe that it's a half day park. I do think that it is a full day park, but Animal Kingdom will close at 6 p.m. And a big part of that is because it is centered around animals who go to bed when it gets
Right. And that time of year, it's dark earlier, and that's just, that's why we see those park hours fluctuate from summer into the winter months with, when the sun sets, the park's closing down, which is a little bit ironic considering the big deal with Pandora was what was
how it's
that? What
lit
is
up
it?
at night, the
Yes,
bio
bioluminescence. Yes, I almost called it illuminations, and I knew that was wrong. We've covered that today. Yes, bioluminescence at the Pandora area there, which I guess people don't really get to experience so much anymore. But I guess once Rivers of Light departed, so did night
yeah.
times at the park.
And I've mentioned before, we will get a late Tusker House dining reservation sometimes so we can be at the park when it's dark. Although, if the park is closed, they will not let you cut through Pandora. We found that out too. But
Right. So did you I don't think you said yet what you had planned for this day there. Do you have
yeah,
dining or no?
we do have dining, but we decided to forego Tusker House. We are going to go to Yak and Yeti for lunch. We have a reservation
Okay.
there. I've never actually eaten at the table service at Yak and Yeti, but we do like the quick service. So there are 2 locations. There's a quick service location and a table service location. We've eaten at the quick service several times and then gone and got a table that overlooks the water area there, close to where Rivers of Life was once a show. We like to go over there. So I figured, well, let's try this table service. My kids love fried rice. They love hibachi type meals. And
Okay.
so I think they'll really enjoy it. But we decided on a lunch reservation because I'm hoping to get out of Animal Kingdom,
Okay.
stay there until closing. I know Missy.
I love the studios. I've said it here before. I love the studios at nighttime around the holidays when everything is all garland and tinsley and
Yeah.
sparkly. So you definitely have to get there at nighttime for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and so that was our big plan. I wanted to see Hollywood Studios at night. I wanted to see the decorations at night, these vintage retro style decorations. I was excited to see those. Possibly catch Fantasmic. I'm not sure. We'll kind of play that evening by ear, but finish up anything at Hollywood Studios we did not get done on our first day, and then head out once the park closes. And that will be the end of our third day. So, oh, I didn't want to mention, yeah,
Okay.
so we do have the dining plan. So this so far we'll have 6 nights, but this is only 3 of our credits so far. So we're already into 3rd park day. So
That's kind of what I was thinking when you said you had the dining plan. I was a little surprised because I didn't think you were eating enough to have justified that yet. So I'm curious to see what comes next.
so we'll catch up the next day. So the following day we are going to take as a rest day, which is very unheard of for me, to be completely honest with you. I think I've only taken one other trip with a rest day before.
Wow. I'm a fan of rest
I
days.
know. So
Although rest days typically involve at least one, if not two, dining reservations and a visit to another resort or something. I don't think I've ever just stayed at my own Disney resort in the middle of a trip for a full day. That would be a bit much.
yes, completely. So now my rest day would be the same. This is at the request of my husband. He said, "Hey, we're gonna have really 8 park days when you look at our 3 Universal days plus 5 days at Walt Disney World. So can we cut a day and maybe take a rest day?" I think the kids would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. So
Uh-huh.
I gave in. Um, but we're gonna have breakfast that morning at Ohana. That is
Okay.
another credit.
I approve of that.
Okay.
Okay.
And so I mentioned we're gonna try to do something special for each of the kids. Now, the capture your moment, Chef Mickey's, that's gonna be special for my youngest. She loves Mickey Mouse. She especially loves Pluto. I think Pluto right now is her favorite. She
Aw.
loves Mickey and Minnie and Pluto, so that'll be really fun for her. But my oldest daughter, who's my middle child, she loves Stitch. Loves him. And
So that's
I
the ideal place then.
think
Breakfast with Stitch.
yes, I think since I took her and my son, to go see the Stitch live action movie in theaters, we did like a special day with us, and since it has come out on Disney Plus, I think in the first week that she watched it every single day. So and then we try to have a family movie night once a week, just cuddle up on the couch and watch one, and it was her turn to pick, and she said she wanted to watch that. I said, "You've watched it 6 times this week already. Let's do something else." So, she chose a Goofy movie instead when that happened, but, anyway, so she loves Stitch, and, this is gonna be interesting. My son and I are not huge breakfast eaters, and so we'll see. I think my daughter, she doesn't know Stitch is gonna be there. She knows we're gonna go to a breakfast that morning, and she
Uh-huh.
asked, "Do they have Mickey waffles?" So, yes, so I think she'll be excited about that. For my son, the only reason why I decided this is one, dining plan, so that's kind of covered in that, and we'll make up the funds elsewhere, but they have ham on the platter, and he could eat his weight in ham, so
Okay then. Of
yeah.
all things. Wow.
All things, he loves ham. So we'll have breakfast there. We probably will do the monorail loop. It's gonna be sad that the Grand Floridian will not be as decorated this year. I'm curious if they'll even have the tree up. I know that the gingerbread house will not be there, but
I wondered about that also. I did see they've been making some progress. The new carpeting is on the grand staircase there.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping they're working towards that and we'll at least have the garlands and hopefully a tree up this year. I'm still shocked that they weren't able to make some sort of gingerbread work somewhere, but I guess when that is such a well known thing, they don't want to do it subpar. So
yeah, and
I
I
I
do have to
understand
say I
that.
appreciate that. Now, we will be at the Contemporary Resort, on the 2nd day, full day of our trip, so we'll probably check out the gingerbread display there. Polynesian
Uh-huh.
does it. They have Christmas decorations, but it's not like the other 2 resorts on the monorail loop, so, who knows? we may just say, "Hey, we've kind of already seen everything over here." So I would love to go to Wilderness Lodge, check out the tree
I was just
maker.
going to ask. I didn't want to get ahead of your other plans because I didn't know if you had it scheduled for later in the week, but that would be an ideal time to take the boat over and check those decorations out. I feel like they have really upped their game over there
Mhm.
over the last few years. Of course, their tree has always been absolutely stunning, but I love their uh, just like their little tables that they set up. I don't know what they call them. It's like a little pop up with different treats and things. And the last few years, I've gotten a little cookie box that was a variety of cookies that are the types of cookies they sell there that we took with us. And they're just really tasty, different types of Christmas cookies. I think there was a maple one. I'm sure there was some type of gingerbread or something like that. But
I
I love it there.
see that
It's
last
my favorite at
year. Yeah,
Christmas.
I did we did go over to Wilderness Lodge. Missy and I actually had trips that coincided together. She was there with friends, and I was there with my family. So, we met at Geyser.
Oh, Geyser Point, yes. Was
Yeah,
that just last year? My goodness, it seems so long
it does.
ago.
It's
That was
very
last
long.
November.
Um, so
This is embarrassing.
yeah, but, um, but I don't remember so they were done with dinner much, earlier than we were, so, we went to the lobby after they did, but I don't remember the cookies, so I'll have to look for those this year, but, uh
So it's a table they have set up right over by the creek by is it Silver Creek? Wow, I used to know all of things Wilderness Lodge and it's been a while since I was there, so the names are slipping my mind or else because I'm getting older every day. Anyway, for the creek there,
Mhm.
which I think might be called Silver Creek, where it starts in the lobby. There was by the elevators there.
Yeah.
There was a table set up there where they were selling some holiday merchandise and some snacks.
I'll definitely go check that out. So, our rest day now, we're going to use that term loosely because we're going to go over to Disney Springs after that. We're going to
Yeah,
use
there's been no resting so far. So
that.
this is
That
really just a
means
non-park day,
yes.
Rachel. Just so you're clear on that. It's what that is.
Yeah, this is just
Not a rest
more
day.
saving money by cutting off ticket day. Anyways, we're gonna go over to Disney Springs. May do I know we'll do some shopping. We'll go into World of Disney. I always go into the art store there. We like to go into the Christmas store, and one of the souvenirs we always get is a Christmas ornament. So I'm sure I'll pick that out there. But my
Uh-huh.
will find enough room to go and eat at Earl of Sandwich. That is one of his favorite locations. I did tell him, if we our first night there when we go over from Universal, if we leave early enough, you can go to Earl of Sandwich. So that might be incentive for him to leave the park too. Um, so we'll do that. And then we plan on going back to the resort if the weather's nice enough. I'll let him and the kids go swimming. Not let, but they want to go swimming.
You let them.
Yeah,
That was wow.
got some
You're a
for
tough
my
mom
trips.
and wife.
No, but, that was a request, so I've been very clear that it's just weather dependent. Now, Disney World does keep their pools at the same temperature year round, I believe, and so
Yep.
when it's
It's like
cold
80 to 82 degrees.
yeah, when
There is a hot tub there
mhm,
also. All of the moderate level resorts do have hot tubs. And that is something that we actually weigh kind of heavily with our wintertime trips. Even though I love the value resorts and would be perfectly happy with a Christmas trip at Pop Century,
mhm.
if it's a day that I feel I'm walking a lot and I'm going to be sore and achy, I might want the hot tub at night.
That's a good
It might
idea.
be necessary to go with a moderate.
Okay,
So
yeah. It's a good idea, especially at some point, I'm sure I'll be checking out the laundry facilities because this is almost a week and a half long trip, so, um,
yes, and Jordan's probably gonna spill food all over himself a
probably.
few times.
So, then that night, we do have dinner at reserved at Topolino, so that is going to be 2 table service credits, so we will be using 3 credits in 1 day. Now, I have never had dinner here before.
Okay.
I did join you there once, and I only had a Diet Coke, and you picked that up for me on the tab, so I appreciate that.
Hey, I don't recall that at all, but I am so nice.
Yes, you are. So we went there. So you went there. This was before a cruise. So we were going on the Wish the next day. And we had a big group, but a friend, Katie, who's been on the show before, she and I wanted to go and try out Sebastian's because it had not been open all that long. So we decided to go and do that. And everybody else is at Topolino's. However, your plans were before our plans. So we just kind of joined you just to chit chat and everything. And Missy bought me a Diet Coke.
I think I remember now, that was the time that we had the bar height tables, the counter height
Yeah.
tables
Yeah.
that are in the bar area. I don't think we had reservations, we just, like, went up and checked on it, and they did have space for us. So,
Yeah.
yes, I do.
We had a big
I do remember that, yes.
yeah, we did have a big group. So This was, other than Yak and Yeti, I could only get a table for 6. However, my mom has already said, she doesn't know that she's gonna be joining us for all day at Animal Kingdom, and my dad, won't be spending every park day with us, so, I made it for 6, and we can ask where they will most likely, if they can't get in, I know that they will head over to Nomad Lounge, and if they're there with
They'll
us.
be all right.
Now at Topolino's, this was kind of tricky, so in order to make a reservation for a party of 7, the dinner time was, like, at 8:55 PM, and,
Oh, wow.
that's very late, even on a rest day when you have children, small children, so I made a reservation for a party of 5 and then another reservation for a party of 2 at the same time. These are about 6:30 in the evening, or probably about 7, and so we'll have dinner there. Hope to actually catch the fireworks from up top too,
Mhm.
to be able to see the fireworks. So you can see fireworks, from Epcot and Hollywood Studios too. I believe that you can see both of them from the rooftop.
Yeah, and from anywhere near the windows in the restaurant, you have an amazing view, but if you could go out on the terrace there, you could really see quite a distance in most directions.
Yeah. And I was kinda surprised that it was so limited on finding reservations for a large party because they do have really big tables there. If you've ever been to Topolino's, most of the tables there are quite large. We will ask if we are able to join our reservations together. They are at the same time. If not, if we can sit close beside each other. So just an ask.
If not, maybe grandma and grandpa want the kids and you and Jordan get a date dinner.
We can hope. No, I'm kidding. So this will be, like I said, this will be our first time having dinner there. We've had breakfast there a few times, but having
So no characters for dinner,
yes,
right? There's
no
characters at breakfast,
characters
but
only.
dinner is no characters.
And breakfast is only 1 credit, but dinner is 2 credits. So this is a signature dining experience. So they do ask, as we've talked about with our California Grill trip report, that you dress for the occasion, basically. So we will definitely make sure that we've got time within our swimming to get done with that and get dressed to go to dinner and see some fireworks from there. Now, if you've noticed so far, I've got 3 days. I have really no plans to watch fireworks. These are our plans to watch the fireworks happen.
Okay.
I enjoy the fireworks. I Disney does a wonderful job putting on fireworks shows, but when you have 3 small children that you're trying to keep all together, keep them occupied, it's not always easy to go and view the fireworks. And another thing while we're choosing this as our rest day is that this is one of the only 2 days of the week that the Magic Kingdom is open late.
Okay.
Now, I know this is also interesting that we chose this as our rest day, but there's some strategy to it. So, the Magic Kingdom will be open late on the day that we go to see the Beach Boys. However, we're not heading over there because that's the last day that the Beach Boys are performing and the only day of our real trip that they'll be performing. But on this day, with the Magic Kingdom being open late, we know that the crowds will be more centered at the Magic Kingdom during the day. And so, I'm sorry, on Wednesday, they'll be more centered there on our 3rd day, so that's why we're choosing Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, thinking that we can get a lot more done at Hollywood Studios because people will be at the Magic Kingdom to see the fireworks that night.
All right. So you're doing the opposite strategy here
Yes,
is you're
that's
going opposite of where you figure the crowds are going to be
yes.
because even though the park hours are more limited, you're figuring less people will be there because the park hours are more
Yes,
limited.
so
Okay, now I follow what you're
with
saying.
that
I thought I
yeah,
misunderstood the hours at first. I'm like, "Wait, they're open so you're not going there?
we're
What?"
open late, so we're going somewhere else,
Okay.
we
Okay.
had talked about, switching days and finding different ways and trying to find a way to go see the fireworks in the Magic Kingdom, but they will not be happening until about 10 p.m. on those evenings. And that's really, really late when you have a 2-year-old. And so
Mhm.
I just thought, I don't want to fight that. And she'll be older and they'll still be running fireworks. Unless something happens and they stop running fireworks permanently, we'll see them at a different trip. So that's a strategy of having our rest day on our next to the last day, actually, of all things.
The least restful rest day
The
in
least
existence.
stress, yes,
Okay, carry on.
but don't tell anybody else that, so
I won't. They won't figure it out. They may by,
they
like,
may,
2/3 of
they
the way through the day, they might be like,
they're
"Wait a minute.
exhausted and have
I thought we were
made
resting
life.
today, Rachel."
It's so restful because we're gonna get up early and go to the Magic Kingdom in the next morning. Um, so our final park day, we are gonna start out again at the Magic Kingdom in the morning. This is another park day, or sorry, a party day, so this will be another party day, but so we can't stay too late, but we don't plan on it. We plan on leaving close to lunchtime and heading back over to Epcot. So we want to spend another evening at Epcot there. Now, this stays kind of interesting. As much as we want to fill up with other things that we haven't done, I've actually scheduled Meredith's very first haircut at Harmony Barber Shop on that Friday.
Aw, what a big trip for her.
So each of my children have all gotten their first haircut at the Harmony Barber Shop, and it's very special. Walt Disney World makes it very special. They give you a lock of hair, they give you a certificate, they give you a little mouse ears hat that says "My First Haircut," and they are
Mhm.
great with it. My son's, we actually did his during the parade, and we could see the top of the floats of, the Festival of Fantasy, so and that's where they were exiting the parade was exiting close by, but, that kept his attention, that was great, he was the youngest one to have his first haircut there, but, my middle daughter, when she's actually had 2 haircuts there, well, the first time I think I took half an inch off, I did not want her to have I wanted it to be there, so, when we took hers, the barbershop quartet came in and they sang too. And so it was very special as well in
So
there.
you're going into this with high expectations.
Going
Wow.
into this with expectations that I'm probably going to cry on this one. I held it together on the other
Aw.
ones, but my youngest one is my only child that has curly hair, and she
Uh,
has the baby ringlets, and she still has them, and her hair is past her shoulders now, it's pretty long, so, she's about due for a haircut, but I'm really it makes me I mean, obviously, they're gonna let me keep when the ringlets, but it makes me worry that once her haircut, the curliness will be gone.
then it'll be changed,
Yes,
yeah.
so
So then the alternative here would be we can just cut, like, one piece of hair
just one tiny little piece of hair.
and put that in a little thing for you to save and throw some pixie dust on there and
Yeah.
let that curly girl be on her way.
So, but I am gonna check to see when we arrive for her on the day that we're celebrating her birthday, if I can get her in that day too. So sometimes they do have same day appointments or other times open up, but this is what I
Uh-huh.
get for our trip. So we have that scheduled. We also, of all things, I scheduled Beacon Barrel that morning
Okay.
afterwards.
Okay.
If you don't know, this is the brand new lounge area at Walt Disney World. It is over in the Pirates of the Caribbean area and it has a pirates theme. I would think kind of Trader Sam's meets the Magic Kingdom and kind of an Oga's vibe to it as well. So we have this book. I don't know that I'm going to keep this, but I did at least want to have this new experience book just to be able to have it. And but that afternoon,
So are any of the kids big pirate fans?
so we haven't gone through the movies with them yet. We watched the first half of the first movie, and
Right, they're a little young for that. What about the
mm,
ride though?
they do
Like,
enjoy the
do
ride. They enjoy the ride, so they know the ride. They're familiar with the ride. I thought they would probably find the gimmicks in it to be fun, um,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time, it's not going away anytime soon. So we could probably do this
Right.
another trip. It's not something I have to do. I just thought it'd be something that if we had time, I've got it reserved. Um, Other than that, our other Magic Kingdom day, the only times I could find were like 8 o'clock, 9 p.m., which is during the party time, and we would not
Uh,
be allowed to have those reservations at that time since we did not have party
uh-huh.
tickets. But I also have Geo 82 reserved.
So that's actually in a different park.
Yes, that is in a different park. So we will be park hopping to Epcot, and I have that reserved for about a 1:30 p.m. time frame. My parents are going to take the kids over to Beaches and Cream for a late lunch, and then my
Oh, well, that's perfect. I vote for if we're choosing between my vote is for Geo 82 over the Beak in the Barrel and
okay, well that's
sending
good
the
to
kids
know.
to Beaches and Cream. So this is a win-win for all.
Yes. So, my parents want to take the kids over to Beaches and Cream, let them get loaded up on some ice cream. My husband and I plan on hoarding all of our snack credits and I
Using
using them all because I said I did not want to make any dining reservations for our last day, so I could eat my way around the world. And I do plan on taking hitting up some booths on our first day at Epcot, but we're having an early dinner, so after the show we'll be able to hit some booths up. And but at Geo 82, I just want to show my husband the lounge. Epcot is our favorite park. I think he would really
Uh-huh.
enjoy it, and with just 2 of us, it actually and not getting anything to eat, it won't take that long for us to experience GO82. They were pretty quick when we were there a couple of
Mhm.
weeks ago.
Well,
So,
that's excellent.
yeah, and
I
that
was wondering if GO82 was going to make the list here
yeah,
because I
I
always think of you when I think of that location.
And I thought that's a perfect time that we're not taking away time from the kids because they're gonna be stuffing their face with ice cream.
Right.
Um,
They will be very happy.
very happy. We'll be very happy, and then we'll head over towards World Showcase and meet them over there once they get back in. So they'll be able to take the International Gateway exit and walk over to the Yacht and Beach Club and enjoy beaches and cream from there. So we won't be that far once they get into the park, and we'll continue on and spend the rest of our day at Epcot together.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the last night,
That's the
right?
last night. Yeah, that's the last night. The next day, and that actually uses all 6 of our credits are taken up. Um,
Okay.
everything there. So I will keep track of what I would have spent otherwise and report back
Okay.
once I get back for the trip. So, because I do want to see, did we save money or was this futile? But
It's
while
an interesting comparison, and especially looking into next year when kids 3 to 9 receive the dining plan for free when the adults in their package purchase it. It'll be interesting to see how close it comes and if you had factored out the cost that you're paying for the 2 kids who are of dining plan age, what would the total have looked like then? So,
yeah,
you've got some homework to
I
do
do. I
after this
definitely
trip.
need to keep track of prices, and, usually, I've always said your buffets are your best value when it comes to the dining plan, and we only technically have 1, although Ohana is all you care to eat. They bring those big family
Mhm.
platters to you, but we only have 1 buffet. That was also just my husband's request. He said, "I'd rather not eat at all the buffets, so all the time." So, um
I guess it depends on the type of dining you want to experience. I know some people consider the best value for a meal being the most food they can possibly consume for their dollar. Uh, I think I used to have that logic, but now that I've aged some 45 years, it's more about the experience and how relaxing and enjoyable the meal can be. And I just can't pack it in like I
Yeah,
used to be able
I
to either.
understand.
Neither could my husband. He used to be, when our kids were little, we had an ongoing joke that Ohana means 20 pounds of shrimp because he consumed an incredible amount of shrimp at Ohana on one of our visits, and it kind of became a regular thing. And now he'll have a few, and he's like, "I'm good." I'm
Yeah.
like, "What is the matter with us? Are we just fading away here?" I
Well,
don't know, but
for us to, my husband kind of views buffets as if I'm paying for this, I'm going to eat it. So I'm going to make multiple trips back
right, you need to
there.
get the value for
Yeah,
your money. Yeah.
it's value. And going when we are going, the weather will be nice and cooler. It'll be jeans and t-shirt weather, which is my favorite kind of weather. And at nighttime,
Mhm.
throw on a sweatshirt. But during these, when we were there in July, I don't have the appetite. I think being hot all day, my appetite
Yes, the
is
heat
not there.
definitely impacts
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
I'll have a bit more of an appetite on this trip, which I'm looking forward to when it comes to the Food and Wine Festival, because sometimes I get to booth number 3 and I'm ready to tap out. Like, I just can't eat another bite. So
You
we'll
need to
see.
pace yourself. That's
Yes, yeah. And then our final day is just gonna be, get up in the morning, get loaded up, and head back home. So, with all of our souvenirs.
Well, it sounds like you have a fantastic plan, and I wish you safe travels and lots of magical memories. And I can't wait to hear how it all plays out for you. In today's top 5, we are discussing our top 5 attractions with no height requirement. So, as you just heard, Rachel will be traveling to Disney World this fall with 3 young children ranging in age from just hitting 3 years old to, is it 9, Rachel? This is 9. So, height requirements are something they need to take into consideration, but there are plenty of things to do, rides to ride at the Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando that you don't need to be any certain height. So, getting right into our top 5 list of our favorites of those. Now, I'm not sure how Rachel did hers. I didn't do what I recommend for families as the best ones. My list is like my top 5 favorite rides that you don't. So, maybe not all families would love these particular ones, but go ahead and give us your number 5, Rachel.
So my number 5 would be well, let me say I took my list kind of the same way some of my personal number 5, but I also included some things, that my kids at any age enjoyed. So, but my
Okay.
number 5 would be Dumbo. And I
That's a fun one.
this is a fun one, and it's so cute, and, it's used in the advertisements so often, and I think just if you go to Walt Disney World, you have to ride Dumbo. I think that's one of those things, like, if you don't ride Dumbo, you can't leave. So, we always get on there at least once with the kiddos, and my oldest is old enough that he can ride in it by himself now, so he likes to do that in
Oh.
front of us and get his own flying elephant.
So apparently I am a big failure because I'm trying to remember when the last time I rode Dumbo was, and it's been many years. So that may be a challenge for us, Rachel. The next time we are at the Magic Kingdom at the same time, you may need to
Go ride
take me
Dumbo
on
again.
Dumbo. I think the last time I did it, and I'm sure you'll remember this day, it was the group trip when we were able to get the VIP tour guide for the day.
I wasn't
And we all, oh my word, you weren't
oh,
there for
no.
that? Okay, well, we won't talk about that
Yeah.
anymore, but we had an entire Dumbo, like the entire ride to ourselves. Like we had every Dumbo vehicle to ourselves. And that was the last time I was on it. So if you weren't there, it was probably because you were with baby.
Yes, I had a 4-month
So,
at the time, so yeah.
okay. So, okay. So it's been a while.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just skip right over that
Okay.
then. I'm going to move on to my number 5, which is at Hollywood Studios, and it is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So I think it's a fun, interactive ride that's more than just a childish ride. Now, of course, I'm not calling Dumbo childish, but there are rides there that are more exhilarating than others. Runaway Railway kind of gives you that feel at times, but at the same time, it's very mild and not on a crazy track or anything like that. You're just kind of moving around within your car. So, Runaway Railway is my number 5.
So my number 4, moving on in, would be the Tomorrowland Transit Authority. Um, this is a very relaxing ride. I love it during the day. I love it at night. And there's nothing all that particularly special about it except for you get great views of the Magic Kingdom and you get to go through Space Mountain and hope the lights are on. So that's one of my favorite things about it. But I've always loved it, and they've changed the scripts a couple of times over the years. But it just the feel of the ride. It is, and it's a lot of fun for kids. If they want to ride backwards, they can ride backwards. You can ride forwards. You can prop your feet up. You just get to kick back and relax for about 10 minutes.
So my number 4 was a bit of a cheat, but I feel okay about it now because my number 4 is a combined people mover and carousel of progress. So since you basically covered the people mover there, I'll move on to carousel of progress. And the reason I grouped them together is because it is very, very rare for me to experience one and not the other. The entrance and exit for them are right next to each other, and it's just easy to go from one to the other. I love the carousel of progress for many reasons. I understand that it may kind of go over the heads of some smaller kids, but the song is so catchy. Your child is never too young to get them to start learning that song and make it a part of your day every day because, I mean, it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. So, Carousel of Progress made it for my number 4.
And that's definitely a classic. So, my number 3 praise is your number 5. So I said Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway with that, and I would agree it's a little bit more thrilling than just than Dumbo for sure. But as for the storyline now, I miss terribly the Great Movie Ride. I am so sad that I did not get to ride that one last time when they announced the closure. So that was a pretty good
Mm-hmm.
closure, but this story, there's, you've got the cute posters in the queue, and then you have the pre-show with the characters and the effects that they do after the pre-show. And my kids love it, and they don't remember the Great Movie Ride. But it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to do together as a family. And it's a good one to fit the entire family or your friend group on into one big car together.
Although there have been times that we could not fit all of us in one car.
That's a good problem to have.
We do often travel with large groups of Disney fans, but that's okay. All right, moving on to my number 3 is over at Magic Kingdom, and it's Pirates of the Caribbean. So again, not ideal for every age because they may be terrified in there, but there is no height requirement on it. It's a fun ride, gives you a little bit of adventure, but you don't even need a lap bar. So it's not
Yeah.
that bad. You just have to make sure you're not afraid of being killed by a pirate
Right.
and
And
having your
waterfalls.
bones left there. I
And
mean, that's not that bad, right? It's not that terrifying. It could get worse,
it could, yeah.
and it will later in my list.
All right, so my number 2 takes us over to Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park, and that is Kilimanjaro Safaris. And,
Okay,
yeah, I think
yes.
it's a great one for the entire family. My kids love animals. They love using the spotting guide, and it's a different ride every time that you're on it because the animals are different every single time. So,
That's true.
yeah, it changes every time, and it's a great way to see all these different animals, get the kids to view them as well. But I thought that's a really innovative attraction that Walt Disney World put together. And I do miss Big Red and Little Red at times, but
Number 1.
yeah, symbol. and but it's a fun ride.
Okay, I agree. It's not on my list, but I agree with everything you said. Number 2 for me, again, is not really a ride that really small children would enjoy thoroughly, but who doesn't wanna go inside the giant golf ball? Okay, so, of course, I'm talking about Spaceship Earth, that glorious geodesic sphere. It's the symbol of the park, and I just think it's something every family should do together on every trip because it is a symbolic thing in itself, and why would you not want to go take a ride up inside the ball? So, that's
I
my
was
number 2.
So interestingly, I just realized even though Epcot's my favorite park, and I will hear from parents of young children all the time, "Oh, we're going to skip Epcot," and I'm like, "Why would you skip Epcot? My kids love
Mhm.
Epcot. There are so many things that we can do together as a family." None of my list comes from Epcot.
Rachel.
Which
Well,
is
I think people have the misconception that it's just the World Showcase areas and it's more educational, or it's kind of swayed a little bit over the years now that the focus is on so many festivals. You know that that focuses a lot on alcohol. So some families will want to avoid that. But there really is so much to do in that park. And I I hate it when people say that they think that's a park that they'd be able to skip. But
yeah,
there are quite a few things in that park for families to
yeah,
do together.
the majority of the
Frozen,
attractions.
Nemo. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, you have the land Living at the Land.
Three
So
Caballeros. Why did none of these make our list?
I know, imagination. My daughter, my oldest daughter loves Journey into
Hmm.
Imagination, but, I missed the old one. If that was the old one was there, it'd definitely make my list. But, I guess I took more of this as list as also things that, we can kind of enjoy as a family. As much as I enjoy the
Okay.
land, I don't know necessarily that my
So you looked at it as things you could enjoy together. I looked at it as things I can enjoy and my kids have to go too because they're
yeah,
not eliminated due to height.
um,
Although there was a time that I missed my number 1 because of my child being too afraid to ride.
okay, it might be mine, which is interesting that I just said, I've kind of based my list on things that we enjoy together. I'm going back to the Magic Kingdom and saying the Haunted Mansion.
Yes, the best ride.
I I have to ride this on every single trip. So, while I think if you go to Walt Disney World, you need to ride Dumbo. As Missy said, she hasn't been on it in a couple of years. There's several years of trips that I haven't been on it, but Haunted Mansion, I'm going on it. And
Yes. It is the must do
yeah,
in the park on every trip. Yes.
so it's fun. It's scary fun, and my kids love it, and I think there's that kind of that tinge of wanting to be scared, but everything's
Let's
okay.
call it maybe more spooky
Yeah,
fun than
it's
scary
fun, yeah,
fun. It's not.
and no, it's not, we're not Universal Halloween Horror Nights here, but, so
Yes.
but,
I could remember the days of, before you would have phones out all the time. So it used to be rude,
yeah,
some people would say, to have your phone out all the time. So I would never imagine I would like keep my phone out on a ride
yeah,
while enjoying a ride and use that light. So we used to bring like a tiny little one, those pinch flashlights that Gracie can hold.
Uh-huh.
Now, I mean, the kid was named after this ride,
Yeah.
okay? So we've gotten to the point that now she loves it. It's also her favorite ride. But over the years, it's been, she loves it. And then around the time she was 4-ish, she suddenly was afraid of it. I could remember sending the rest of our group on it and me taking her out to whatever the pumping up the party parade was that they used to have going on with this
Yeah.
guys on stilts and whatever. And we stood out and we watched that instead because it happened to be going by out by the castle at the same time. But usually if we had the little flashlight so she could see around us, she was
Which was
okay.
like,
But
yeah, yeah. The ride has definitely changed over the years, but, and I miss the original bride that they had. I don't know if you remember the original bride if or that was taken out before you started visiting, but it was just a glowing eyes and a glowing heart. And,
I
that
think
one
I remember that. I could remember them doing a big overhaul at some point. Now, of course, this was back before you saw everything on YouTube. It could revisit it all the time if you wanted to from home. So I don't really have a super memory of exactly what I experienced then. But I do remember when they reopened it and they added the room with all of the staircases, which
yeah.
I've never really been a fan of. But interestingly enough, one of my girls mentioned recently that that's their favorite room.
Oh, really?
It's like, what? Why? But it just goes to show like we all love the same thing, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
So it's that I thought that was bizarre. I don't know why, but there was somewhere that we were and they said something it was somewhere with a lot of staircases and they said it reminded them of the haunted mansion and that's their favorite room. And now I can't remember where we were and it doesn't really matter, but I'll
And
have to ask. I can follow
yeah,
up on
the
that
movie
another
The
day.
Labyrinth, if you've ever seen that, when she makes it to his castle, and it's kind of that MC
I know.
Escher type,
I
scene.
It's been a long time since I saw that, so I have no memories of it, but I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, so, Haunted Mansion, the spooky fun of it, the graveyard, everything outside of it, it's just from open to beginning to end. I love that attraction. My kids love it. We love to go on it together, and we have several haunted mansion themed things inside the house too. So one of
Mhm.
the things that I will buy things from as well.
Same here. All right, well, that does it for today's top 5. I think, Rachel, you were handling today's listener question?
Yeah, so I've got today's listener question, and that question it's a very good question. It is, am I allowed to bring food and drinks into the park? So, Missy, will you start us off with an answer to that?
Well, yes, you are allowed to bring food and drinks into the park. You can bring whatever you'd like, no alcohol. Do not be trying to bring your own alcohol into the park. But you can certainly bring water bottles, sodas, juices. You could bring refill bottles to fill your water once you're in there. And as long as you're not bringing it in a cooler, and when I say a cooler, I mean like a hard sided large cooler that you're bringing in. You can't be wheeling in or hauling in a whole picnic
And
with you.
I
But
don't know why you
there
would
were
have to.
no, I don't either. But I do remember days of needing to bring a small soft-sided cooler for milk for the kids or for different needs over the years. So that is something that you're certainly welcome to do. They may go ahead and take a peek in it when you're going through security, but it is definitely permitted.
Yeah, and I will add to that, you are not allowed to bring any glass containers. So,
Mm,
they will check for that and even, a lot no beverages are in glass containers, but I know sometimes you can buy yogurts in glass containers. You're not allowed to have glass. And, they also say so we take a soft side cooler. Goodness, I've taken them every trip since my oldest was 1 because we carried milk into the parks. They also say no loose ice, and so now that seems very inconvenient when you're not staying at a place with a freezer to freeze up some things for you, but what they mean is that don't have just ice just sitting in the cooler. You can bring a Ziploc baggie and put the ice in that and use that. I actually found something on my last trip that you can seal it's kind of a more of an insulated bag that you put ice in and you seal it up. It did not leak the entire trip, and the ice stayed, even at the end of the day when we got back to the room, there were still chunks of ice in that. So it worked a lot better than a Ziploc bag did for us because those inevitably will always leak out on me no matter how tight I think I've gotten everything. They'll inevitably leak out. They don't keep the cold in for all day long, but these did. These worked very, very well. So I found those on our last trip. I'll be definitely taking those on this trip too, but no loose ice and no glass.
And I think probably that loose ice rule comes back to what you just mentioned with, how things leak out and can make a mess. They don't need your stuff dripping all over the park because you're hauling around just loose ice in a
Yeah.
soft cooler that's not really leak proof. So
Right, and another thing too was that when security before they had all the machines, when you would literally have to have your bags checked, and they were checking these bags, they didn't want security rummaging through ice to find out what's in your bag. So that was also
that's a
if you
good point.
grab
Yes.
grab the bag of ice, they can see what's in it and put it back in. So if you have a question that you would like to have answered, please feel free to send us an email. We have two different emails for you. We have a Disney Life at storybookdestinations.com and also podcast at storybookdestinations.com. We'd love to hear from you. Send those over to us there. Ships, if you want to stay at somewhere like Fort Orleans French Quarter, Pop Century, and All Stars Resort, I can actually book 2 guaranteed connecting rooms. Now, there are some stipulations with that. I cannot have more than 2 adults on a reservation. So when my oldest turns 18, that's considered an adult, and that will not work anymore. Disney will not give me 2 guaranteed connecting rooms. But while I only have 2 adults on a reservation, I am allowed to book 2 guaranteed. Will not be a separate reservation number for each room type, but you are paying for 2 different rooms for your family to stretch out in. But this is a great option if you, and sometimes less expensive depending on the resort, than booking a family suite at All Star Music or Art of Animation Resort, or booking a villa at one of the resorts that were built for DVC rentals as well. So this is a great option for your family if you're traveling and you have more than a larger party of 4, or if you just wanted extra space to spread out. That's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I can't wait to report back on how our trip went and how restful our rest day was, and whether or not we utilized our dining credits to the maximum potential there. So, thank you so much for joining in. Don't forget to follow us along. We've got a Facebook group called A Disney Life. You can find us there where we share things throughout the week. We also have an Instagram. You can find our handle at Disney Life Pod. That's the same name that we use for our TikTok. And we have our channels up on YouTube where we have shorts there as well. So thank you so much for listening, and we can't wait to see you next time.